to you and yours. I hope that this morning, even though it's 6:38, let me bring my microphone so you can hear me because everybody else is still sleeping. Hope that today brings you love and happiness, gives you a chance to start your transformations, and gives you plenty of opportunities to seek the path of ascension. And it can be done so very, very, very simple. All you have to do is stop resisting what comes natural to you. And then you're on your way. It's as simple as that. To be honest, I mean, we can fluff it up as much as we want to, but what, in the end of it all, what are you resisting and why? It's a good idea to think about it, right? Good. And Tuesdays are usually a good day to start thinking. After the mayhem from Monday, right? Um, I want you guys to learn about Cascarilla. It's used in the Afro-Cuban religion because I know, because my mom and my dad and my sister, they use it. It's always been in our family. And it was used by all of our ancestors because this thing goes back to conjure, to hoodoo. Um, and it's used now in magic. Witches are using it. New Age witches and New Age spiritualists, they use Cascarilla because of its origin, because of what it does. It helps with protection. It helps with root work. It helps with so much on your altars. And we spoke about altars yesterday. And Cascarilla is one of the things that we add to our altars because it's something that we use very, very, very much in many ways. Originally, Cascarilla is from a plant. Not really eggs and not really crabs, because there are people that use crabs to get the crab shell and make it a very fine powder. That's okay in their side of the world. And this used to be a plant. They used to use a plant. How far does it go? I think it goes even further, but it has been traced to native tradition in somewhere in Africa. Don't ask me where, but I know because this is something that my dad explained to me a long time ago. People in that region, though, they brought that understanding of that sacred, what they used to call sacred white earth, into the West. And then, of course, into the West is where people started making changes. Why would they make changes? Well, if you are unable to find an ingredient either in your hoodoo or in your conjure, something that you want to that you need protection from, sometimes your intuition tells you, well, if you don't have this, you always have that. And that is the basic understanding of our earth. Mama, Pachamama will give you choices, just like we all have choices in our world, in our lives. Pachamama gives us choices. If you can't use this, then I can give you something that works the same way. What did they use it for? They used it to protect against negative energies. right? But since people in Africa were moved to the West, unfortunately, they did not have access to the cascarilla plant, right? So what probably happened is they probably talked to their deities and explained what was going on, which they probably already knew. And they were given something else that they can use. What they did was they used to get the bark of this, because it was a shrub. I think it's considered a shrub. If I remember correctly, my dad said that that was a shrub. And they used to get the bark, right? It was used for medicine to lower fevers. It was an expectorant like a mucinex in a plant. Um, and even excess bloating from gas in your stomach. Um, the word cascarilla actually means husk or outer skin. What happens to have that? Exactly, an egg. So it it when you ground it, it had almost a really white color, and over time, um, magical practitioners started moving from the plant powder and started using crushed eggshells. Obviously, eggs have always been around. Don't know how much longer it's going to be around based on what people are saying. But if we start listening to what people are saying and not what our intuition and what our own guides are saying, we're in a big, big issue, just like we are now. But practitioners, magical practitioners, and healers started using the eggshells, easy to come by, and also just the symbolism of the egg, the spiritual symbolism of the egg was made it very, very useful, a good alternative, right? That's why in the hoodoo tradition, in the Santeria tradition, uh, in the Yoruba tradition, if you're in Africa, you'll probably use the plant, but here in the Western side, we don't have the plant. You're lucky if you did, and if you did, let me know. But this is the main ingredient for protection, and that's for everyone. Okay, what does cascarilla do? Well, if you're running around with bad luck, everything you touch turns into sand. Everything you try to start just stops or doesn't let you. You're in a little black box inside your little black box. What does that interpret into? Well, if you're living in your solar plexus, all right, this eggshell powder called cascarilla removes your bad luck. It removes curses. It removes all negativity, right? And it is used for overall protection. People use it in voodoo dolls. People use it when they make up a mojo bag. People use it for spells. People use it for spiritual bathing, candle magic. You can use the actual piece of egg to write protection, make it like a little sigil, right? You can add it inside charms. You can put it anywhere in your home, in your workplace. You can put it in your car. Anything that you can use this for. This is what you would do. Not only is cascarilla good for protection and for reversing things, but it's also very used for purification and cleansing. Before we painted our home, and I'm sure, I am so sure that our neighbors thought, what on earth is this woman doing? I made, so I had eggshells from over a year. We are big egg eaters in this house. And I had bags and bags of very cleaned, washed eggshells waiting to go through the process for me to make them cascarilla. Now I don't make it the 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 chalk one that comes in a little cup. Those I buy and I use them for different reasons and for other things, like for writing. But because you write symbols, by the way, with them, and I'll explain what I did. What you do is you get your cascarilla, you bless your cascarilla, there's a process for all of this. You grind your cascarilla, and as you're grinding, you're thanking not only the chicken that laid it, but also spirit and all the spirits that come that have to do, your ancestors that have to do with you, helping you in your hands and your spirituality. They come to your space as you're making the cascarilla. There is song that comes in. Whatever song comes in, unless you know the traditional songs, then you sing them. I don't know the traditional songs. These are just words that come randomly, and I add music to it. Everybody knows I'm a musician. I'm a singer. I'm gonna chant as much as I can. So when you put all these things together and you make your cascarilla, what I did was, once it was blessed, and I did put it under a full moon. I left it out in the full moon. You have to cover it because obviously you don't want animals to get to it. And we've got all kinds of animals. We even have an alligator, a few, I think it's not the lake in the back of my house. It's the lake on the other side, but you know that they're all connected. So, yeah. So we have all kinds. We have flamingos that come in, usually around spring. They come in. So, we've got quite a bit of animals. And I just covered it with a little cellophane, our plastic wrap. I covered it just a little bit so it can also get the element of air. Then the next day, I woke up and I gave thanks to Mama Kia. I gave thanks to Inti for giving it sun in the morning and fortifying and energizing it. Then I went around the house clockwise and I started grabbing, and whatever song comes in, you start singing. Ask me what song it was, I have no idea. But it's actually usually the same freaking song that comes out every time I do this. And I do this once a year. I feed eggshells to Pachamama for protection. And I go around the house clockwise 7 times as I spread a thin line of cascarilla. Then, before we painted the house, and every time we paint the house, I get the one that looks like chalk. When I get the one that looks like chalk, I use that to paint symbols on the walls of my home, outside, inside, including doors. Yes, I do infuse Reiki into those symbols. What those symbols are, I don't know. Usually, they look a little different. This time around, they're coming out like this. This is the last one that I was able, there you go, that I came up with. Very, very strange, but they mean something, right? So anyway, so I put those symbols, and then the painters, oh my gosh, because you can see it. I'm using the one that looks like chalk. When they came to paint our pool, um, I got a specific amount of crystals, and I asked them if they could pulverize it and add it to the pool mix. They did that, but before they painted, because there was, they don't paint when there's like a little bit of water, a little bit. I went ahead and I got my Cascarilla chalk, and I painted my symbols in our pool, and that was it. It's a very relaxing, very cool pool. I don't like hot pools. I like cool pools. Like, it's 69 degrees today. Once it gets into uh, 75, 76, I'm in there. I know it's cold, but I like it. So, Cascarilla used to be this beautiful, actually, it's a very beautiful plant, very hardy, nice, hardy leaves. So Cascarilla is now used as a powdered eggshell, right? But a lot of people don't ground it as soft as what it's supposed to be, which is baby powder. Some people leave it a little more coarse. There's a thing that I know that has to do with the amount of energy and work that you put into the magic or into the protection that you are doing. Yes, it's hard to make cascarilla the right way. You use, instead of a wooden mortar and pestle, you use a rock. I have a volcanic rock mortar and pestle. That is what I use. But you have to do the work, and you have to make it as soft as baby powder. However it is that, whatever it is that you have to do, that work, that responsibility that you have to make cascarilla has to be right. And you have to take that responsibility of making your cascarilla soft as baby powder. Actually, it's even more softer than that. Baby powder is soft, right? Okay. More like cornstarch. That's how soft you need to make your cascarilla. And again, that requires dedication, that requires time, that requires ritual, because you're going to be blessing that cascarilla with every turn in your mortar and pestle. Okay, yeah, you can use machines. Absolutely do it. Okay, absolutely do it. But it needs to be that soft. Okay. Um, we love cascarilla because it does repel negative energy. So when you feel that there's negative energy around your home, that there's negative energy around your work, you get a little bit of that powder and move some furniture around. Maybe you can put a very small amount. It all has to do with intention. Small amount in every corner of your office, every corner of your home. Okay. Um, you can do that. And you will ask your ancestors. These are the people that used this before you. They have so much more clarity than you do, to give you clarity, to tell you where else you need to put your cascarilla. Maybe you need to add your cascarilla to your bath tea or your shower tea. What is a shower tea? It is a cleansing tea that you're going to make, whether you cook it the day before and you hold it until everything is extracted from your plant, or you get you make it cold. Whatever ingredients you're using, make sure that you know the difference between bitter, what that does, bitter herbs, and what that does in a bitter bath, to a sweet bath and what that does. Okay, so make sure you know what difference that is. Because you use a bitter shower for one thing, or bitter cleansing for one thing, and you use a sweet cleansing for something else. But I mean, in all honesty, it has to do with your intuition and what your spirit guides are telling you, what your guardian angel, what your guardian guard, okay, or your guide, or the main person in your spiritual entourage, okay, that's the one you listen to. That's the one, of course, unless you feel that spirit himself is telling you information that you need. If you're a shaman, you're going to venture out and journey and get your medicine from any one of the realms. Hopefully, you are a shaman, that you understand that journeying is not only for your client, but it's also for you. You would be amazed what I've heard. You can use it just for any cleansing. Because the powder is so soft, and this is the reason why I say that the work has to be done. Because the powder is so small, it's okay that you can put it in a spray bottle, and it's not, when you shake it with your beautiful work of art, you are going to see that it doesn't clog in the little spray thing, right? You can use it for physical ailments. Yes, you can. And it's also a responsibility for us as human beings to use every part of what it is that we're going to eat. If we're going to eat an egg, for the love of God, don't throw away the eggshell. Did you know that if you have birds, you can ground it? Don't have to ground it as if you're going to make cascarilla, but your birds can eat them. You can add it to the meal that you're going to give your dogs. I think you can give them to cats as well. That is calcium in its finest and bestest form. Is the word bestest a form? I think, no, I don't think so. But it is in its best form. Use every part of the egg. Do not throw it out, because someone else can use it. When you have eggs like that, speak to your local botanica. It is a place where it's a metaphysical place that sells a lot of stuff. Talk to them. See if maybe they want your eggshells, if they are a lot of eggshells. Don't just give them 3 eggshells. Here, guys, you're gonna ask them if they know any ones that you can give the eggshells to, or they can give the eggshells to. Maybe they have people that make their own cascarilla. All right. When you make cascarilla, if you end up wanting to make the chalk, I use rose water or holy water to make the mix. And then I buy in Amazon, you can buy the little cups, the little paper cups. And then when you mix it, you just put enough water. Remember, this is now, you've ground it into very, very thin consistency, very much like cornstarch. So if you add water or rose water or holy water, you want to bless your water, you got to do your own holy water, for crying out loud. You have to. And then you make a thick paste. It's going to be a paste. Then you're going to put it inside. I get a butter knife, and that's what I scoop it out of, and I put it into those things. Then with my hand, I put water in my hand, and I press it down, and I make either, I put it in those little cups, or since they are, it's such a thick paste, it looks like clay. then what I do is I put a little bit of water in my hand and I make little croquetas, little croquettes, right? Just like they look like or people that don't know croquetas, they look like the shape of mozzarella sticks. And then what I do is I squish it just a little bit on wax paper. I put it outside in a covered patio on days that I don't have humidity, and I just leave it there for like about a week. Let it cool. I usually do these when we don't have rainy season. Summer in Florida is not the time. So, times like now, this is where you have a nice breeze, a nice, comfortable uh, temperature with hardly any humidity. And then you put it out there. And then, you know, they're easier to write with. Okay. And let me tell you, when I add cascarilla to my Reiki prescriptions, everybody knows that I'm a Reiki master. Um, but when I add cascarilla, I add this huge, huge chakra. And when I use that chakra 3 times uh, on my prescription for a given person or a situation, then on top of that, I am going to write my symbols that I'm going to use to get my Hanshaozi Shonen and shoot out a long distance Reiki. Or if I have the person in my office, I use that as well. What I do is I just get a little dot of cascarilla on their third eye, right in the back of their heads. I put nice little crosses or dots on their hands and their feet, and as many of the chakras, even if it's in the air, I do that. And boy, does that add, plus the magnification of the energy with crystals. I don't have to tell you what else can happen, right? So I want you guys to understand what cascarilla is, how wonderful it is, how we can use it. The next thing we're going to learn about is camphor and how to use. There's these little camphor cubes that I get for work. I use it for so many things. So I want to talk to you guys about camphor cubes and how to use them, and camphor oils, because it's something that we have, something that we use. So thank you for joining me today. As promised, here is the video for cascarilla, how to use it. Okay. If you have any interest in recipes to use it for, let me know and I'll make a video with recipes. Again, cascarilla is used from spiritism all the way up to, hoodoo, conjure, whatever it is that you want to use it, to Reiki, to any energy healing, because it is a grounding energy and it protects very, very well. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Mary. I'm happy to give you this wisdom, this medicine that you can use. Have an abundant day.